Welcome to the Cell Guru show, and boy are things really heating up. I know in terms of the climate and everything else, things are cooling down. It's much nicer. But in terms of what we really are here for, the Cell Guru market category, the cell phones, the smartphones, the accessories, everything that's coming in from there, things are really heating up. Just look at the lineup we have for you today. We'll start off with this, the Razr 5G. Now, I know Motorola wants to call it only Razr 5G, but I call it the Razr 2 because there's so many things they've done with this phone, from the camera, the addition of the 5G, the way the screen is now, so many different things that they've added to this phone. So we'll talk about this, and of course, we'll do a comparison with the only other folding phone a little later, but right now we'll review this. Then we'll move on to our section where we talk to you about things inside your mobile phone that you use every day. But have you ever really thought about how they really work? We'll go into Wi-Fi today. Then when we come back, we're going to go to Shure. If you're any kind of a vlogger, any content maker, any kind of a person that is making videos, then this could be, well, the ticket to get the best audio out, especially if you use your phone. Of course, we're starting off with the Cell Guru show with news coming in from the world of mobiles, and the single biggest known secret is, of course, the fact that Apple launches their iPhones on the 13th of October, the new iPhone 12 and a whole lot more. Rumors are there's going to be more than just the phones. What do you think?
Block your calendar. New iPhones are coming. Yes, the iPhone 12 series of phones is finally being unveiled on October 13. Along with the expected iPhone 12, iPhone 12 Pro and iPhone 12 Pro Max, Apple is also rumored to unveil a completely unexpected smaller iPhone 12 mini. The invite says high speed, which could mean we will have a faster iPhone or 5G support. Additionally, this time we are expecting one more thing, or few other products apart from phones. It could be a smaller smart speaker, the HomePod mini, or the new AirPods. We will have to see what joins the big iPhone 12 announcement next week. This week, Poco announced its most affordable smartphone yet. The Poco C3 is priced at Rs 7,499 and runs on a MediaTek Helio G35 chipset. The phone is all about value and includes a 6.53-inch display, triple camera setup, a large 5000 mAh battery, and even water resistance. We will review this budget phone from Poco soon on the show.
The Moto Razr 5G, the second generation of the phone that actually made everybody sit up and take notice that Motorola was right back. It's an innovative company. It can actually do a world first. And the world first was that they came up with the world's first folding clamshell design. Now, you know, there's something about a clamshell that has always had that psychological impact, that you actually have a phone that is this big, perfect in terms of the ear to mouth ratio, and you can actually fold it in half and put it away in your pocket or anywhere else. But the most interesting thing with this is the fact that they took a legacy, an iconic design, and really went the entire way and innovated and came up with a folding phone. So it was the world first. Now they've gone into second generation. Every single thing, other thing maybe just the looks are pretty much the same. Other than that, everything inside, everything from the experience, from the UI, from the software, everything has been dramatically changed. Let's take a look at our review.
Motorola resurrected the iconic Razr last year with a futuristic foldable display, and that modern classic design had us thrilled. Now we have the second generation with us, and it brings with it refinements to the design, battery life, 5G support, and a bigger front screen. Is the refreshed Moto Razr 5G the cutting-edge smartphone to make you flip? It's time to find out. The new Moto Razr 5G feels more premium and polished. The glass and metal combination gives it the class it deserves. We did feel the weight of the phone, but we're glad that it is lighter compared to the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip. The big welcome change is the placement of the fingerprint scanner, which has moved from the front to the back. While we do think it's a change for the better, when we open the phone, the fingerprint scanner is too low on the rear, and that takes some time getting used to. The scanner works well though, and it's quick to unlock. Now we have a zero gap hinge design, which means Moto has not kept any gap between the two sides that come together. The phone feels solid despite the futuristic tech. We did find it easy to flip open the phone with one hand. The closing flap sound is very satisfying too. The Motorola Razr 5G is a clamshell with two displays, a 2.7-inch outer quick view display and the main 6.2-inch screen which appears when unfolded. While the outer display doesn't give you complete joy in viewing content, it does allow access to apps like Messages, Music Player and Google Maps. We can access up to 8 apps and these apps can be pinned for easy access. The interesting add-on here is the peek display, where if you hold on to the notification, you can get a preview of the message. The 6.2-inch main screen is a narrow Full HD display which is surprisingly neat. The colors are vibrant and the contrast is good. This screen is good for consuming content. We wish that the Razr 5G was designed for half-folded use like the Samsung Z Flip with Flex mode, but it isn't. Coming to optics, the new Razr has a 48MP rear camera and a 20MP front camera. Even though it is a single lens camera, the sensor is large. The photos from the camera are decent with lots of detail. However, for a phone that costs over $1 lakh, the camera is a little underwhelming in some scenarios. There is optical image stabilization, which is a huge plus. One can always use the 48MP lens as a front camera as well. The Moto Razr 5G runs a clean version of Android 10 which is called MyUX. There is no bloatware and we liked that. The Razr is powered by Snapdragon 765G with 8GB and 256GB internal memory. The phone gave us no chance to complain in our day-to-day tasks. Gaming on it was smooth, however, we won't call it the best phone gaming. The phone supports 5G. The battery did get a slight bump up from the previous gen and it's now a 2800 mAh pack. The Moto Razr 5G ships with an 18-watt charger but it doesn't support wireless charging. The Cellguru verdict? Priced at 1,24,999 rupees, the Moto Razr 5G brings style, fashion and the right mix of nostalgia to the table, but it fails to justify the price tag that it carries. The new Razr is not the absolute best foldable out there, but it makes a bold statement, and if you want your phone to double up as an accessory to flaunt, the new Moto Razr is exactly what you need.
For the experiences you deserve. We've been doing this series and it's actually become a big hit with all of you because we're going deep into our phone. We're actually examining things that we do with our phone every single day, but we never give it a second thought. I mean, we're just playing our games. We're just taking the photographs. We're just using Wi-Fi. Yes, Wi-Fi, that's the topic we're going to talk about today. It's been called one of the greatest inventions and innovations in recent times. It makes accessing the internet, studying, gaming to communicating with our family members possible, and that too without being tethered to any wires and cables. Yes? What am I talking about? You've guessed it. I'm talking about Wi-Fi, the magical little beams in our homes and offices that make everything possible. Can you imagine living in 2020 without Wi-Fi connectivity? That's the stuff of tech nightmares, at least from me. I'm sure it's the same for you. You know, in the past few years, our data requirements have shot up through the roof, and we do literally everything on the internet. The number of devices simultaneously accessing Wi-Fi has also increased many-fold. A lot of this usage, it focuses on a few key things like consuming video content on OTT platforms like Netflix and Amazon, online shopping. With the pandemic, we use our video conferencing and work from home now to the greatest of extents. Our dependence on Wi-Fi networks has increased even more as all our activities have moved online and indoors where cellular coverage may not provide the best broadband experience. All of this means that the number of people simultaneously using the same Wi-Fi network has increased, and so is the average amount of time everyone is spending connected to their home network by as much as 2.2 hours per day. That's the new statistic. With so many of us connecting with friends and family using video calling services, it was no surprise that voice over Wi-Fi calling saw a massive rise in users, up to 90% increase during the pandemic. It's when the Wi-Fi isn't working perfectly on your devices when we experience slow internet speeds, those odd disconnects in video meetings, loss of data during an online gaming session, or buffering on a streaming app. But what we sometimes forget is that Wi-Fi isn't only about the router. A lot of it depends on how the Wi-Fi is handled by our device and how they manage it all within. With so many things being used in our phones, the Wi-Fi is the backbone of all this usage. While the routers have evolved, even the phones need to pull a lot of Wi-Fi magic to make all this happen. Now, a great Wi-Fi experience on your phone is mandatory for a hassle-free work-from-home setup. And one company that is continuously innovating to give you all that is Qualcomm. And it is doing it for both phones and routers. In today's episode, we'll find out what a great Wi-Fi experience truly means and what it takes to provide users with a hassle-free Wi-Fi experience. Wi-Fi is the holy grail. It's time to find out how it works. And before we move on and speak to Rahul Patel, the Senior Vice President and GM for Connectivity in Qualcomm, we decided to go out on the streets and find out what's the kind of real problems people face with Wi-Fi on their phones, as their routers, everything else. What's the Wi-Fi experience like for them?
Not at all.
The speed is not the issue, but the consistency of the Wi-Fi.
Right now it's working perfectly fine.
Yeah, sometimes happy, but sometimes not also.
Sometimes we get a problem regarding breakage of connection. Nowadays the online classes are going for the kids, so sometimes the connection gets broken out, so we have to reconnect it.
I think the Wi-Fi speed can be improved. If it can be improved, I'll be very happy with my Wi-Fi.
Sometimes I face lag, like while I'm on video calls and something.
The speed, obviously, and secondly, just the consistency. You know, Wi-Fi is something that shouldn't die down.
Range.
The continuation of the speed.
A bit of range. Minimum 100 Mbps.
I have like 1 or 2 repeater, so I use that when I need it.
We have set up lots of dongles around various places of the house.
We have to get a router, the extension basically.
It should be placed at the center of the house so that it can cover all the areas.
Now let's talk to Rahul Patel, Senior Vice President and GM Connectivity, Qualcomm Technologies. Welcome, Rahul. Great to have you in this segment. Rahul, you heard about the pain points experienced by consumers. Can you explain to our viewers what constitutes a great home Wi-Fi experience?
Hello, Rajiv. How are you? Hope all is well with you. That's a great question about the experience that the consumers come to expect with Wi-Fi. You know, if I summarize at a very high level, Wi-Fi is, from an expectation point of view, no different than the utilities that people have come to expect in their homes. Today, consumer moves around the home with smartphones, a screen, maybe a fixed screen like a 50-inch screen or even larger. And what the consumer expects is seamless connectivity with Wi-Fi. What is seamless connectivity? It's very qualitative. What it means is jitter-free video experience. You're watching your IPL game, you're watching your Netflix, you are doing phone calls, you are doing video calls. All of those things have to be delivered as if they are coming off a wired connection over Wi-Fi.
Okay, now let's talk about you as a brand, as a company, as people who actually are behind the cutting edge technology. Can you elaborate on what you have found to be the pain points for users in India?
Excellent question, Rajiv. I think there's plenty to worry about when it comes to pain points in the Indian geography with respect to Wi-Fi. We evolved rather very quickly from using Wi-Fi to access emails and data, maybe pictures, maybe Facebook, social media, to going to a place where we started doing WhatsApp calls, video calls. But then the pandemic struck and the game changed dramatically. It went to a newer high, largely because we started doing many things simultaneously, such as working from home, where the quality of the network expectation is just tremendous. Schooling from home, you want to make sure kids are able to participate effectively in a classroom, and then also entertaining from home. We started to see a lot more content getting sourced from applications like Amazon Prime, Netflix, MX Player, Hotstar, YouTube, many other applications. To add to that, during the pandemic, in 1 week in April, 197 million downloads of gaming applications took place in 1 week. That's just phenomenal. And to add to that, more than 40% increase in gaming took place between the months of March and June, July, right? And so this is the complexity of the home from where we were just using it for data and messaging and emails, to now in a place where we are schooling from home, working from home, entertaining from home. 87% of the homes in one of the surveys in India do not have whole home coverage. When the home is expecting to be entertained from every room in the home, schooled from any room in the home, and sometimes simultaneously. Indian geography is very different than many geographies where we have brick walls. They are less penetrating to the Wi-Fi signals, right? And so that is the pain point in India right now with Wi-Fi. Having said that, don't get disheartened. We have solutions. Wi-Fi has evolved to places where now there's capabilities in the smartphones, in the PCs, and also Wi-Fi infrastructure in the home, like routers and mesh Wi-Fi access points, where they will be able to solve and address some of these problems that or pain points rather, that we are seeing in the Indian geography.
All right, that's very interesting. So what do you recommend for users who are experiencing these issues with their Wi-Fi at home?
A lot of these products today now come with 2 streams of Wi-Fi, dual antenna, 2 antennas in the product. And this is very effective in solving the range problems in the home.
Okay, let's move on to the most important device, I think the router itself. Should users consider upgrading their networking devices itself?
Absolutely. A good routing platform solution is the basis for good whole home coverage for Wi-Fi in the home. So look for access point solutions or Wi-Fi in your gateway that your operator provides, where they have at least 4 antennas or 4 streams of Wi-Fi coming from the gateway or the access point that you have in the home. This way, there's enough coverage and capacity for the home. In many parts of the world where problems and pain points, like I described earlier, are being resolved with mesh Wi-Fi solutions, successfully resolved. What mesh Wi-Fi is, you have these nodes that you sprinkle around the homes and effectively light up a full blanket coverage of the entire home. And so every room is well lit up with Wi-Fi coverage, and there is enough capacity, and so the experience goes to a newer level, a newer height, I would say.
Thank you, Rahul, for joining us on the show. I'm sure you're going to join us again, because the kind of stuff that we need to know from you is a whole lot more. Let's take a quick break right now on the show. When we come back, lots more happening. And now let's move on to this. Like I said right in the beginning, if you're creating any kind of video content and you're using your phone to do that, which is how most people are doing it right now, the one big problem with that is that your audio always suffers, because there's usually distance between you and a phone. Phone speakers and phone microphones are mainly made to keep as close to the mouth as possible. But if you have distance between you and your phone and you're actually recording audio from that, it's actually a terrible, terrible audio that comes out. And audio is more important than video when you're a video content creator. That's where a product like this, the MV88 Plus Video Kit from Shure, comes in. This is a complete kit. They're giving you everything you need and the ways you can actually use the microphone that comes with it in different environments. If it's noisy, if you're taking an interview, if it's a speech that you're giving, it completely and totally changes everything.
If you are someone looking to venture into content creation, or you're already a content creator, then you need a good audio and video setup. Your phone's camera will do wonders in the video department, but the audio also needs to hold up on its own too. That's where the Shure MV88 Plus steps in. We got a first look at this video kit and we were blown away with the functionality on offer. With multiple presets and options to choose from, this video kit from Shure is a one-stop shop for amazing audio. The kit includes a few things like the mic, which has a windscreen attached to it. an adjustable phone clamp, a shoe mount mic kit, and cables that allow easy connectivity with Android and iOS devices. All of this is packed nicely in a rolled-up neoprene case that makes this kit portable and keeps its contents safe and organized when not in use. There's also a mini mobile tripod inside the box. The setup was fairly easy. We could easily mount the mic on our phone. There's a Q light on the bottom of the mic that lights up once it is connected to the phone and gets power. To take advantage of the functions on the mic, the Shure mobile app is where we went. The app gives us the ability to change settings like audio presets, video frame rate, and even toggle between the front and rear cameras. The app also shows the audio level that the mic is picking up while recording. It has 5 preset modes for sound: speech, singing, flat, instruments, and loud. These presets can be used to adjust the width of the mic to get the most optimum quality of sound. For choosing the width, there are options like stereo, mono cardioid, mono bidirectional, and raw mid-side, which provide a wide variety of audio widths to choose from. The MV88 Plus also allows choosing custom width in stereo mode. We tested the mic out using it as a shotgun mic in selfie mode and found the experience to be very smooth, and the audio quality was loads better than the device mic. Our verdict: the Shure MV88 Plus is a content creator's audio heaven. With crisp, clear audio and multiple modes to choose from, this is the go-to audio setup for bloggers and amateur videographers who want studio quality audio but want to pay pennies on the dollar as compared to bulky studio-like equipment.
That then was the Cell Guru show for this week, but lots of big things coming out. In fact, there's so much that I don't have time to tell you, but I'll tell you 2 quick things. The first one is the Vivo V20, a complete game changer in optics in terms of camera phones. This has eye tracking autofocus. This is what comes in mirrorless and DSLR and professional cameras. They've been able to put it into a phone. Second, of course, we'll give you our first impressions of everything that got announced with the iPhone 12. All of that happening next week on the Cell Guru show.